There's a ton of noise out there. So how do you get decision makers to pay attention to your brand? Start a podcast and invite your ideal clients to be guests on your show. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. I'm your host for today's episode, Logan Lyles, the Director of Partnerships here at Sweetfish Media. I am joined today by Rajesh Padinjaremadam. He is the CEO and co-founder at RapidValue. Rajesh, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing good, Logan. Thanks for having me, and good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Really excited to dive into this topic today of how helping your clients grow and transform digitally can actually help you grow your business. To put a little context around today's conversation, Rajesh, I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself and what the team at RapidValue are up to these days.
Sure, absolutely, Logan. So again, I'm Rajesh. I'm one of the co-founders of RapidValue. Founded the company around 2008-2009 timeframe. And prior to that, I worked with fairly large consulting firms driving transformation with large enterprises. And at RapidValue, what we're trying to do really is, we are a technology services firm, but we are focused on emerging technologies like mobile, cloud, Internet of Things, machine learning, and so on. And what we're really trying to do is to try and help enterprises and businesses adopt these technologies to create significant business benefits. So we sort of help them through digital transformation where they use these technologies to significantly transform and grow their business.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, let's dive right in, Rajesh. I know you've got some specific examples for us, but let's start out the conversation with, kind of laying the groundwork and understanding the lay of the land as you see it in, why helping your clients grow and transform digitally. Why should we be talking about this? What are some of the factors in the market and in our lives today that, have made this a hot topic for you guys?
Sure. And I want to probably go about, 8 to 9 to 10 years back when we founded the company. One of the things that we noticed at that point in time was, mobile as a technology was coming out in a big way. Cloud was coming out in a big way. And we really thought that some of these technologies could really change the way world operates and could really change the way enterprises and businesses would operate. And looking back, I would say we probably even underestimated the sort of changes that have happened, and the sort of changes that have happened in the technology landscape in the last 10 years have been unprecedented. Now, what does that mean for businesses? Digital businesses like Amazon and Uber are really sort of transforming the landscape. Really, they are disrupting and displacing industries. Right. And what we do from that perspective is we work with traditional enterprises like insurance players or financial service players or manufacturing companies to really sort of help them adopt these technologies to compete effectively with the digital players, to be, to keep themselves relevant and to compete more effectively and drive revenues.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I think all of us can definitely attest to that fact of, seeing that change coming and now looking back, realizing that it's probably even been more change at a faster rate than any of us could have anticipated, even just 10 years ago. So the first point you wanted to touch on, Rajesh, was this idea of moving fast and learning fast. And I think you had, an example of this from an insurance company that you guys work with. Tell us a little bit about how this plays into this topic today.
Sure. So again, going back to the point that I mentioned about how technology is changing, the set of digital technologies that are available there today are offering a great way for enterprises to sort of touch their customers in ways that are never possible. And what that means is, companies need to fundamentally, think about changing business models. And specifically, to take some examples, one of the clients that we worked with, which is a large insurer, a lot of their business happens through their partners. And traditionally, using some of the older technologies that were available, it would take them more than months to onboard partners, which would mean that the process was extremely slow. And we worked with them to really sort of streamline their processes by getting in some of these digital technology infrastructure to enable them to onboard partners in days and in weeks or days, and they are able to grow their revenue at over 40% pace, right? And what that means for us is that our customers are using these technologies to grow their businesses, and we are able to grow with them. Now, however, one thing that is really important is, from our standpoint, some of these technologies are changing really fast, and it's also important for us and our team to understand, how do these technologies impact the business of the client that we are working with, right? So what it means is, it becomes really important for us to really move fast and learn fast, both in terms of technology as well as the business impact of that technology. And hence it becomes really, really important for us to have a team that's really sort of looking at what's happening in the technology world, what's happening, what are the new trends, and how can some of those things be implemented to really sort of transform business for our clients.
It's story time again, and we're talking about search engine marketing. Today, I'm going to tell you about a challenge within Pelican Case's B2B division. Pelican needed a partner with deep B2B expertise that could get them a massive bump in leads from their pay-per-click campaigns without increasing spend. After vetting a handful of agencies, they decided to go with Directive Consulting, a B2B search marketing agency located in Southern California. Directive took on this challenge by refining their targeting and building custom landing pages for their advertising efforts. Once implemented, they saw a 208% increase in conversion rate. Needless to say, Pelican Cases met their initiative. And I have a hunch that Directive can get these kind of results for you too. So head over to directiveconsulting.com and request a totally free custom proposal. That's directiveconsulting.com. All right, let's get back to this interview.
Is there some of the things, Rajesh, in that learning fast mentality as you've built your team that you've specifically looked for, since you've recognized that learning fast and that adaptive capability is helpful for your team to correlate that to your clients? How do you go about looking for that as you kind of build your team?
Yeah, and that's a really important point, right? Because we are a team of about 450 people. So ultimately, it's our team of people that makes a difference for our clients. And what we typically look for is, we look for people who can really learn fast. And the reason is going back to the fact that the technology landscape is changing so fast that it becomes important for you to have people who can really understand, learn fast. So we don't look so much for experience. In fact, we try to stay away from tightly written job descriptions. But what we're looking for typically is, we're comfortable getting people who probably are one or two levels below the level of experience that a typical job description would demand. But what we really look for is, we're always looking for people who have the willingness and ability to learn and relearn. So we really think the ability and willingness to learn is really, really important in today's environment where things are really changing fast.
I think that's great advice there, Rajesh. What else were you going to add there?
Yeah, so just to take an example, right, when we founded the company in 2008, we were focused really on mobile as a technology. And at that point in time, there was nobody in the industry who had done or built mobile technology. It was just coming up. And so it was really imperative for us to find people who could actually learn and pick up on the job. And I would say, we've been really lucky to have gotten some really, really talented people who are able to sort of live up to that vision, learn new technologies, learn our clients' business, and then make a real heavy hitting impact to our clients' businesses.
Yeah, I think that's great advice there, Rajesh, because, having a fit in the market is definitely, a part of your growth, but having a team that can move at the pace of the market that you're serving, and the way that you go about doing that, I think, is great advice as folks are building their teams. One of the other things that you mentioned as we were chatting in preparation for this interview was about why you guys chose your headquarters in Silicon Valley. And obviously, talent can be a factor in that as we're touching on talent and hiring, but you tied it more to this idea of being visionary. Tell us a little bit about how that, relates to today's topic and some of your thinking behind that.
Sure. So, one of the good things about being in Silicon Valley is you're really seeing a lot of innovation that is happening around you. And you are able to learn from those innovations and then transfer it to your clients all across the world. For example, we work with some of the large or marquee technology leaders like Facebook and LinkedIn, and we take, as well as a lot of other smaller, earlier stage startups who are working on bleeding edge technologies. And we are able to take some of those learnings, both in terms of technology, methodology, approach, all of that. We are able to take all of that and then, transfer some of the knowledge to traditional enterprises across the world, which could be, manufacturing firms, who could be large crane rental firms, who could be insurance players. And some of these firms who are our clients really appreciate the fact that we are able to get these learnings and technologies that's happening in Silicon Valley and implement there and really sort of help transform their business. And they really love it. And so for us, that has really worked in terms of learning from companies here and then sort of, adapting that learning for other industries, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And one of the things I keep saying, one of the things that we've seen is in the past, some of these traditional industries used to move at the pace of having new functionality that gets released every 6 months or 1 year or probably even longer sort of time frame. But today, all of these traditional industries, some of our customers who are large manufacturers or large crane rental firms and who are really in traditional businesses are starting to think like an Amazon or a Facebook, where they want to release functionality in a week or two, which is really unprecedented. And having learned some of these right, in the heart of Silicon Valley, we are able to help these enterprises adopt these technologies and the methodology that is required to implement these technologies at a breakneck pace.
Yeah. Learn from the best and then, translate those learnings to your customers. I think that's, no matter what your business model is, that's, a principle that folks in the audience can definitely take from there, Rajesh. This last point you wanted to touch on was, the culture that you guys have built of punching above your weight. Tell us a little bit about, what you mean there and how that has correlated to help you guys really focus on transformation for your clients.
Sure. So one of the things that we always done is, we work with fairly large customers. We try to help transform their businesses, and in the process, we're competing against some of the large consulting firms like Deloitte or Accenture or some of the larger Indian players and such. And both from managing the competition as well as helping our customers succeed, it becomes really important for us to be able to sort of really punch above our weight class. And by that, what we mean is, we always try to operate one or two levels above what is expected. And that's really required because the market is really moving at that pace, which means that if our clients have to get an edge, we have to be able to get them things faster than what our competition can help get to their, our clients' competition. And from that standpoint, we always think punching above the weight class is really, really important. But one of the things that has helped us using the same philosophy in hiring is to look for people, like I said before, not hire people not for experience, but for their ability to learn, ability to take risks, right? So we are always looking for people who have the fire in the belly, who are willing to take calculated risks, who are able to learn fast, who want to learn fast, as opposed to somebody with the exact number of years of experience. And that has really worked for us, because what we find is a lot of these people really sort of go on to punch above their weight class, and they learn quickly, they become leaders. And I would say that the single most satisfaction that I got out of being an entrepreneur is to really see some of these folks that we hired early on, or we continue to hire, and some of these people going on to become leaders, in a really, really short time. And that's been a tremendous satisfaction as well.
Yeah, that's awesome from your story, Rajesh. And I definitely see that correlation there. If you're hiring people, kind of below their weight class as far as experience, and have this fire in their belly to learn, then that's going to fit into, the broader culture of your company, trying to go above your weight class. And
ultimately, they are also happy because they are able to do something that they haven't done before. They get a free environment to experiment, take risks, and tolerate failures. And so they get to learn. They feel they are challenged, as opposed to somebody with the exact level of experience who is trying to replicate what they've done before. So it's a bit of it adds to the risk, but it ultimately challenges everybody to perform at their at the right levels.
I love that. I definitely can appreciate that. And I think our audience is going to take a lot of value from some of these lessons that you've learned in building the company, in building a team, in helping, facilitate that growth of your customers and the people on your team. And all of that, boils up and works towards, your overall business growth. Rajesh, this has been a great conversation. If anybody listening to this would like to follow up with you, stay connected, or reach out in any way, what would be the best way for them to go about doing that?
I'm on LinkedIn, Rajesh Padinjaremadam. My email is rajeshp@rapidvaluesolutions.com, and our website is www.rapidvaluesolutions.com. One word, Rapid Value Solutions.
All right, I love it, Rajesh. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Logan. Have a good day.
Digital marketing agencies have a tough job. You have to stay on top of the latest marketing strategies for your clients and your agency. What if there was a way you could address both at the same time? Imagine your agency putting out content with greater quality and quantity. Envision bringing your clients a turnkey solution for one of B2B marketing's fastest growing media strategies, podcasting. All those clients asking for your help with their account-based marketing efforts? Picture being the first to bring them the idea of content-based networking, showing them the proven strategy for breaking into their most coveted accounts. Here's the concept. Sweetfish Media is looking to work with a limited number of innovative agencies interested in a new partnership model. We produce a podcast for your agency. You introduce the power of podcasting and Sweetfish services to your clients. Everybody wins. Learn more at sweetfishpartners.com.